What a good fortune for all of us, friends. His Holiness Sri Dalai Lama Ji, a great messenger of peace, a Nobel laureate for peace, a very unique personality in the whole world, is here today to bless all of us. This presence of Dalai Lama Ji, His Holiness, is a very good sign, a very great indication. I'd like to just say, friends, to you very briefly, when I stand before you, it truly fills my heart with a sense of pride and pleasure to welcome him and welcome the other people. I'd like to just tell you, friends, it has been the greatest good fortune for all of us and for myself, especially, and for MIT, the World Peace Center, in the year 1996. On 30th of December, when we had established the World Peace Center Alandi, it was with the blessings of His Excellency Dalai Lama Sahab. That's the greatest fortune. And after 1996, today is the day when he has stepped into this land, and this land has been made more pious. In the name of philosophers and Naneshwara, we had organized the first World Philosophers Meet, called as a Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy. And a very unique concept was mooted to put the scientists and the sense together with all the understanding of the appropriate word of religion. And we have been trying to understand what is the essence and philosophy of all world religions. We have been trying to understand the role of science and spiritual component of life. And possibly that has made us to organize this very unique Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad. Last year we did the same attempt, and possibly with the advice and guidance of TN Session, Mr. Mashalkar, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, Honorable Mohan Daria ji, we have been trying to do this attempt, and possibly, friends, you are the architects who have come all the way from the whole of India and giving such a wonderful response and having the blessings of Honorable His Excellency Dalai Lama Sahab. I say welcome on behalf of you, please. You must give a ovation to him. We were not very sure, but he has found time and he is here on this dais. I am grateful to you, Dalai Lama Sahab. We need your blessings. We need your advice and the right mission to these Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad to lead this nation and make a nation building and make a democracy more stronger. Thank you. Thank you so much.
His Holiness, Revered Dalai Lama Ji, Dr. Karad, Rahul Karad, Dr. Mujumdar, Dr. Bhatkar, and all the dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the audience, and young friends who have come from all parts of the country. I feel greatly honored to be here, to great honored in the presence of His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji. Friends, when I look at Dalai Lama Ji, for me, he is a symbol of universal peace, fraternity. He is a symbol of humanity, non-violence, and he is a great humanitarian. We feel sorry when we look at Tibet today, but I can assure Dalai Lama Sahab on this occasion that this young generation, they will stand by you and shall see that you get justice at the university, from the universe. Young friends from India, I would not like to take more time. I am supposed to speak only for 5 minutes. I may only say that please resolve that we, the young generation, stand to create a new India which will be prosperous, which will stand for peace, which shall remain uncorrupt and show a new path to the whole world. It should be your resolve. Thank you very much.
The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by a sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. This is the policy that India has followed. India has done, India is doing, and definitely India can. Right from 15th August 1947, less than 65 years of Indian independence, and what India has achieved in this short span of time is surely remarkable. If people compare India to a superpower like the USA, it is evident that USA got its independence 235 years back. Now compare 65 years of Indian independence to 235 years of American independence. And then you can recognize the speed and the pace with which we are developing. And then all of us sitting here will definitely believe that yes, India can. People call the city of Washington, D.C. to be one of the best planned cities of the world today. But then those people are forgetting about Mohenjo-daro, a town of the Indus Valley civilization that exemplified excellent town planning skills that date back 5,000 years back. People are forgetting about the number system, the decimal system, the value of pi, the value of zero, anesthesia, concept of wireless communication, the Nalanda University, the development of 4 major religions of the world. And all this is just because of India. And for those who say that India is a poor country, are forgetting the fact that India has been the richest country on the globe in the 17th century. Labeled as the golden bird, India has always attracted invaders from all across the globe. Coming to the present scenario, India is one of the only 3 countries in the world that manufactures supercomputers, is one of the only 6 countries in the world that launches satellites. India is the only country in the world that has launched 8 missiles in the last 10 years under the guidance of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. India has the 2nd largest stock exchange in the world. 8 Indian companies have been registered on the New York Stock Exchange. This is something that no other country has ever been able to achieve. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. India is the largest English-speaking nation in the world. India has the largest democracy in the world. This is the development that we have made. From economic to industrial, from cultural to social, from scientific to religious, from medical to science. This is what we have done. And still people doubt here whether India can. Coming to the present scenario, these property prices in the cities of Delhi and Mumbai have doubled in the last 18 months, and this shows the economic development that we have made. Presently, the youth of India is the scope for India. India is the only country in the world that has such a large youth population. People sitting in front of me, myself, we are the scope for the country. We need to join hands so that we can make India progress. It is believed that by 2035, India will be the world's largest growing economy in the world. And if we are able to achieve this, India will definitely lead the path to development, the path to fulfillment, and yes, the path to enhancement. Thank you.
सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तां हमारा, हम बुलबुले हैं इसकी ये गुलसिता हमारा. These were the patriotic expressions given by Mr. Rakesh Sharma when he first stepped on moon and asked by Mrs. Indira Gandhi how could he visualize our nation from space. Respected dignitaries on the dais and His Holiness Dalai Lama and all the inspired, ignited-minded personalities sitting before me and craving hard to be the part of this nation, not by the mere presence of their soul, but by our contributory efforts to make our nation the best place in the world. When I was a student, my Guruji gave me a thought. He inculcated an idea in me, which I'd like to put before you. He says, मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है. मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है. यूं ही पंख होने से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है. Yes, we friends, India was ruled by the British, the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese. they came and took away all that was ours. But after 64 years of successful developmental democracy, we are the third largest growing economy. Today, Dr. Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee are called by the European Union to advise the same Dutch, the same British, the same French and the same Portuguese to pull them out of the economic crisis their countries are facing. This shows, yes, India can. Moving ahead, 54 crore of young population is waiting at the doorstep of agriculture with a dream to feed every billion baby born on my motherland, India. We, on the pinnacle of industrial production, should feed everyone. Speaking about transport and communication, we have an aim to connect every Indian in a metropolitan city to arm Bharatiya in the remotest village. Yes, we can. Speaking about the Amar Bharat Bhumi, we should not at all forget the great work done by our Jawans on the northeast and the northwest frontier, fighting day and night, with whom we can give our thoughts safely on here. Moving ahead, summarizing my views on the topic, as I feel, why do we feel, why do you all feel, yes, India can? A thought came in my mind. As the great Maratha king Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj could conquer the empire from the Mughals, if Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar can frame the Indian constitution, if Yuvraj Singh with his all-round performance can make India the world champions, and if Mr. Rahul Karad with all his team members can bring 8,000 students from all over India on this common platform of Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, I definitely feel, yes, India can. Commonly, a message which we all need to take from this huge platform of Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad is what I feel. जब तक सफल ना हो चैन की नींद त्यागो तुम, संघर्षों का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम, कुछ किए बिना जय जयकार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
Brothers, sisters, whenever I give talk or meet with people, I always have the feeling I'm just another human being, just like you. I think about 8,000 people here. We all same human being, mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And also we all have the same potential for good thing as well as potential of destructive things also there. Now important is we should use our intelligence, our common sense, and with sense of responsibility to cultivate positive emotion, and should increase these positive emotion so that our potential of creativity, potential of construction can go further, can develop. Automatically, more positive sort of energy increase, then the destructive emotions, destructive sort of energy automatically reduce. This is nothing to do with some kind of sort of, holy thing. Simply, everyone wants happy life and successful life. The basis of happy life and the basis of successful life very much depend on our inner strength, inner peace. Money, power, and also some extent the materialistic oriented modern education alone may not bring inner peace or self-confidence. So, as a human being, firstly, in order to build one happy individual, sensible human individual, and happy family, happy community, happy nation, and ultimately happy world. Now about India. Now, 1956, I came to this country on Buddha Jayanti celebration. And of course, since my childhood, I had some kind of interest about Gandhiji. And on one occasion, I met in my dream Mahatma Gandhiji. I think that time my age perhaps around 10, like that. Then 56, Gandhiji, of course, no more. I never have the opportunity meeting personally Mahatma Gandhiji. But 1956, I met quite a number of Gandhians, the freedom fighters. Really, they carry struggle, something, right way. Struggle fearlessly, selflessly, with vision. I always admire these people. So, and then also 56, I had opportunity to visit Indian Parliament. 1954, actually, I become member of Chinese Parliament, People's Congress. So I found big contrast there. In Peking, our meeting was very very smooth, and everything very much disciplined. And sometimes the leaders because of the leaders used to give long talk, speech. And many of the parliament members, some are quite old, so they usually enjoy sleep. Not much interest. But then, Indian Parliament, full of noise, looks, though disciplined. And many of the members of Parliament really proud to criticize government, and Pandit Nehru personally also. I very much impressed. So the same year, 56, while I was in New Delhi, the Chinese Prime Minister, one of great leader, Zhou Enlai, came. And I had a few occasion meeting in Delhi. So I told Chinese Prime Minister, I found there is big differences. Then I mentioned our parliament meeting in Peking and Indian parliament meeting. There's big difference, as I mentioned earlier. I mentioned these things. Then the Chinese Prime Minister responded, oh, since you left, our parliament the way discussion or parliament much improved. He mentioned like that. Otherwise, no further explanation like that. So I'm very much impressed. Yeah. So Then 1509, as the picture shows, I escaped from Lhasa and took political asylum in this country. So, firstly, India is the home of Buddha Dharma. I am Buddhist. Since my childhood, I study Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist teaching, and particularly those excellent, profound texts which wrote by Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga, Buddha Palita, Arya Deva, Digna, Dharmakirti, Chantakirti, all these great Indian philosopher, Indian thinker, mainly I think educated in Nalanda institution. So I consider myself as a student of these great Indian philosopher, Indian thinker. India's 1,000-year-old concept of ahimsa. Ahimsa means here motivation level, compassionate motivation. Then all because of the action of speech, action of physical action, verbal action, mental action, all these action then become non-violence. Anger, hatred, suspicion, too much competitive sense, then your action looks non-violence, general action, but because of motivation, want to cheat, want to bully, want to exploit, want to take advantage on them. And all these actions, no matter what appears, but essentially violence. Then also, like some people already mentioned, corruptions. Also it's a form of violence. So therefore, India's concept of non-violence very much sort of based on compassionate, warm-heartedness. So, motivation side, compassionate, sense of concern of others' well-being, respect others, that automatically bring action of non-violent action. Even some disagreement, without losing respect other, with respect, and argue, discuss, like that. One time Advani, she told me, this I think come later. So I very much sort of attracted India's 1,000-year-old ahimsa. That's one thing. Then, in this country, again, 1,000 years, many different Dharma traditions developed. Before Buddha come, already there are different sort of Dharmic traditions already there. Then about 2,600 years ago, Buddha came. And also Mahavira came. I think generally these two great sort of Indian teachers are really promoter of non-violence. So in this country, eventually, beside homegrown different religious tradition. From outside, from ancient Iran, Zoroastrian came this country. Very well settled in Bombay, very near here, from here. Around 100,000 population, very small community, but no danger of threat. Very happy. And number of Parsi participated sort of at a national level, a lot of sort of works in university, in the economic field, like Tata, and in military field and other field. Such small community, yeah, very safe. That's India's greatness. So then Christianity come, Islam, Judaism, all world religions, all major religious world religions is eventually come here, well settled. So last 1,000 years, I think at least 2,000 years, 2,000 to 3,000 years, beside homegrown religion, all world major religious tradition all come here and live 1,000 years happily. Of course, some pocket here and there, some problems happen. It is understandable. The several crores of people, some mischievous people, take for granted some mischievous people always there. But overall, I think this country really wonderful. 1,000 years kept the sort of harmony among different religious traditions. So these two things, wherever I go, I talk the value of inner sort of value of ahimsa based on compassion, then religious harmony. So I describe myself as a messenger of India. I really feel proud. Now last few years, now I'm urging to our Indian spiritual leaders, I, as a messenger of India's tradition, that level, I'm quite active promoting these two things, ahimsa and religious harmony. So, Indian gurus, actually my boss, I'm messenger. So messenger, making some effort, promote these things. Now my boss must take active role. Promotion of ahimsa, promotion of religious harmony. These two things are India's tradition, but very much relevant to today's world. Therefore, you should, particularly the religious leaders, should take more active role. It's not sufficient just to carry your daily sort of routine, something like ritual or some ceremony, recite some Sanskrit word and fire puja, just to carry your own area. Not sufficient. Must come out. And firstly, talk to Indian masses. What's the real meaning of Dharma? Not just a ceremonial way. Change here. Cultivate positive thing and strengthening these basic good potential. I think within this century, India can make some significant contribution in order to tell others, first you yourself, you see, pay more attention about these things. This one thing. Then me personally, So we Tibetan, more than 1,000 years, eventually follow Buddhism. That's one of the India's religion. So I always describe Indians is traditionally our guru. We are Chela. Our relation is something, relation between guru and Chela. So, firstly, we are student of this great nation. Then me personally, I describe myself as a son of India. Why? I think about 2 years ago, I met some overseas Chinese sort of medias, overseas Chinese. Very good, wonderful. I always meet with Chinese. They're also our brothers, sisters. So, one reporter asked me, why you describe as a son of India? I think he felt that maybe political sort of something significant. And I told, frankly, truthfully, every part of my brain filled by Nalanda thought. Then this physical, about 2 years ago. So I told them, last 50 years, this body, 50 years, major portion of my life. When I left Lhasa, 24 years old. So, last 50 years, this body survived by Indian dals, Indian rice. So I consider myself as a son of India. I told them. It seems he understands that. Okay, this is not a political sort of statement. He understands that. So as a sort of Chela of ancient India, as a son of India, I really feel great honor to have this opportunity to share, to interact with several thousand young Indian students. I'm very, very happy. My generation, now who are in 70s or even 60s, 50s, that generation belongs to 20th century. Now these people, below 20, 30, even 30, you truly belongs 21st century. 20th century, gone. Whether happy one or miserable one, already gone. Although 20th century, really very, very important century of human history. But the 20th century become century of bloodshed, century of violence. According to some historian, in that century, over 200 millions of people killed through violence. If such amount of violence really changed the world, brought better world, then some justification. But that's not the case. Therefore, violence actually bring more problem, not solve. So now, from our past experience, now this 21st century, now only 11 years passed, remaining nearly 9 decades, almost 9 decades yet to come. So, you a people or generation who belongs to the 21st century. Now, you have the responsibility to build happy world, peaceful world. Whenever we face some problems, some disagreement, try to solve through talk, through dialogue, not use violence. So you should carry the sense of responsibility to build peaceful world. I think I may not see that kind of world, but you can develop genuine peaceful world of compassion, world of peace, world of sort of sense, full of sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. Within this century, I think very possible. Here, India, logically, must be leading nation to build that kind of century. So now you should take more active role. First within your own country, then beyond your national boundaries to whole world. I think India has real great potential. For that reason, now you need vision. Vision. Sometimes my sort of criticism, you have the potential. Now firstly, this country, Mahatma Gandhi implement 1,000-year-old your tradition of ahimsa in his political struggle. He utilized that very successfully. So at that time, when Gandhiji there, maybe some people consider India's sort of non-violent sort of struggle maybe passive, or signs of weakness. But then gradually, like Nelson Mandela and many others, really sincerely follow Mahatma Gandhi's example. Now the concept of Mahatma Gandhi's ahimsa, I think, almost worldwide. So, that's one factor. Then second, this country, since you got independence, democracy, very, very stable. More than 60 years now. Very stable. So, and then another important factor is this country is the most populated democratic country on the whole world. Very successful. So, you Indian, should feel more self-confidence. And now in order to make contribution for whole world, you need 1,000-year-old Indian spiritual sort of wisdom or mind, and then plus modern technology, modern education. That's, I think, very important. Must combine. And one person you mentioned, I fully agree. India is actually land of farms. Right? So real transformation or real change of India must start in rural area. It is not sufficient. Big cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, now even Pune here, I think a lot of new constructions. That also important, but real transformation of India must take place in rural area. Education facility, health facility in rural area must develop. And then farm system must be more mechanized or more modernized. Like Japan, very small land. Even using this size of land, they cultivate quite effectively. So you can do that. So plus you see India's 1,000-year-old rich spirituality, rich philosophical thinking, and then plus material sort of development and also technology combined, I think you really can lead the world. This I really feel.
Should we compromise with our religious norms for the development of India?
Every religion, the real sort of, real part of Dharma, part of Dharma and culture. I think, for example, therefore, the Buddhist teaching reached China with combination of Chinese culture and eventually become Chinese Buddhism. Buddha Dharma reached Tibet with local condition combined with local condition, then it become Tibetan Buddhism. Or even through China, eventually Japanese Buddhism, Vietnamese Buddhism, Korean Buddhism. That's same Buddhist teaching, but cultural heritage is some differences. So any religion, I think Indian great sort of tradition, even Buddhism, you see, there are some sort of aspect of existing culture sort of habit. Now these things, according to the reality, sometimes we really need modification or change. It is very important.
Namaste Guruji. My question was that how can you spiritually inspire the youth of this nation to vote very efficiently, and so that instead of telling the words, yes India can, our actions speak, yes India can. Because the majority of the population is the youth in the nation right now.
Yes. Actually, when I received the delegate concern of sort of people about this sort of organization, I think you are there. You are there? Yes. Oh, so he in New Delhi, I think last year in New Delhi, you see, they told me they are try not involved in politics. Politics, they consider very dirty politics. Then I argue with them. It is wrong. Politics itself not necessarily dirty, but people who involved in politics sometimes not very healthy. So politics become dirty politics. So that's even religion. If the person who involved religious business not very sincere, then religion also become dirty religion. So every human profession is good, necessary, very relevant. However, you see, it is always possible the person who involved in that sort of that profession becomes something wrong here, then that also becomes dirty. So I told the dirty politics must change. Who is going to change that? If we pray to God, please God come to India, clean this up. It is unrealistic. So you, young Indian, you should clean up all these negative things. No one else. I told you, isn't it? So you must involve, you must join in politics within political sort of group. Then clean up, change. That's the only way, like that. So there is only two ways. Either accept God, Lord, pray, and life lead clean, honest, truthful. Or, other hand, deny existence of God, existence of truth, just corruption, corruption. There is no third way. Half religious person pray to God. Half don't care about God's sort of message and just corrupt. How? It is biggest, greatest sort of contradiction. One way accept spirituality. One way doing all activities which essentially against the spirituality. How can go together?
We, the student leaders of India, assembled here in the second Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad on 12th January 2012,
on 12th January,
hereby pledge to strive hard to protect India's democracy
to strive hard to protect India's democracy
in principle and practice.
in principle and practice.
As a dedicated youth
As educated youth
and responsible citizens of India,
and responsible citizens of India,
it is my duty to uphold
it is my duty to uphold
its democratic traditions and values.
its democratic traditions and values,
I affirm my lifelong commitment
hold my lifelong commitment
to fight any kind of discrimination
to fight any kind of discrimination
based on caste, religion, and creed.
based on caste, religion, and creed.
I hereby commit myself to make India
I hereby commit myself to India,
a vibrant, participatory, and inclusive democracy.
a vibrant, inclusive, and participatory democracy.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Very good. Sir, may I add one more sentence? I want to share with the youth. Sometimes at sort of young age, we full of enthusiasm, say full of visions, but then with that sometimes a little sort of impatience. So once we face some obstacles, some difficulties, then we develop some irritation and frustration and demoralize. So work, especially this great noble work, it bound to face some obstacles, some sort of problems. We must, right from the beginning, we must keep in your mind, oh, when I committed this work, they are bound to happen, face some problems. So, you must prepare in your mind, no matter how much obstacles, I determined to carry this work till my last breath. There is Tibetan saying, 9 times failure, 9 times re-effort. That's important. Sometimes you see, too much enthusiasm, some obstacle come, then discouraged, demoralized. So that I also, when I was young, I also that kind of sort of habit. I want something eventually. It's difficult to materialize. Then gradually, because of that, not much sort of interest. So that's wrong. So I want to share with you that in any way, now India's success is not only your own country's interest, but rest of the world, very, very important, as I mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Everybody has to stand up and give the standing ovation to His Holiness. I once again bow down in front of His Holiness. Thank you so much for strengthening our democratic fabric, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's time for the 8th session. Yes, India can. We, the student leaders assembled here in the second Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, hereby resolve and appeal to the government to strengthen the NAM non-aligned movement to safeguard the interests of underdeveloped countries and intensify its fights against undemocratic regimes, hunger and poverty in those countries. Now we are waiting for the results on screen. हम उम्मीद करते हैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा students ने किया है, and we have the results. Yes with 90.92% and कुछ लोग जो सहमति नहीं रखते with 9.08%.
मेजॉरिटीज के साथ है कि नाम को हमें सशक्त बनाना है। भारतीय छात्र संसद की ओर से ये रेजोल्यूशन भारत सरकार और दुनिया भर में यूएन में जाएगा, जो भारतीय छात्र नेताओं की राय को दिखाएगा। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस रेजोल्यूशन में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, और इसी के साथ हम ये सत्र यहीं खत्म करते हैं। भारतीय छात्र संसद।